Here we go again with the Daily Mail and the Times. Hello and welcome to Foxy Roxy Reviews. For people that are new to the channel, we cover translated news, reviews and topics. For people that are returning, well, thank you very much for stopping by. It's much appreciated. Today we'll cover two similar articles from the Daily Mail and from the Times newspaper. Covering Sarah Savage's book, Are You a Boy or a Girl? And they seem to be both of a similar vein. So from what I've read of the Times article, which has been behind a subscription wall, we'll get to that later. And of course the Daily Mail article, I'll give a link down here if you actually want to read the article for yourself so you can make your own opinions on it, was regarding this book, and of course then the ramifications of telling young people to be trans, or is someone brainwashing them. Now when you say it out loud, it seems so outlandish that that would be the case, that just for one book that would happen. And this is the thing that I'm finding, that from some aspects of the press, it's almost like they're desperate to get attention and they will do it for any means or ways to do that. And so for people who have actually read the book, I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's a well-written book which kind of questions gender identity rather than giving definitives. So rather than maybe having male or female, it's more about what your expression is and what you feel comfortable. And there's no real books like that, to be fair. Not that I've seen or read. I know a lot of people see it as a very good resource for young children, so it can foster conversations around these topics. One of the current themes I see is it seems to undermine the community and the communities it impacts. So quite a lot of times it's like 99%, or it will throw up some other random number like 98 or 99.9. As I said before, there's plenty of research which backs the approximate population of the LGBT plus community in the UK to around approximately 12%. So be a number of people that will fall under that trans umbrella in some way, shape or form. So it's hardly what I would call a victimless article, and it's quite pointed against the trans community and against that expression, which I think is very sad. This is why we have Transmedia Watch, to cover trans-related topics and, if necessary, participate in the media and then educate them on the best ways to represent the trans community. I think this is very telling that a lot of the media are trying to diminish this and trying to get away with it. Just in this year alone, you have the BBC, you have ITV, the Daily Mail, the Times, just to mention a few, which have made these major transgressions. What I don't see is any thought or any consideration, but it's more what I would call a YouTube equivalent of clickbait. And that's what I think I've seen with the modern press. There seems to be this diminishment of quality, especially research behind it and being educating on those topics. It's really telling, arguably to the point where it's almost becoming meme-like with how bad it is. Behind all of this top here, there is a very real sense of there's hatred that's increasing in this country. It's seen as okay to hate now. And because papers are making these narratives, I feel there's a very real danger to the type of content they're making. And I think they do need to be held up to account. Throughout this year, my bar of expectation for what I think these media outlets will produce is just going down and down and down and down and down. The thing is, though, if you actually read the book and you read the content behind the book, I feel it's not biased to any particular position. It talks about kind of different genders and expressions in a way I think is really accessible to young children. So rather than maybe feeling like you have to be one gender or the other, it's more an entry point to explore expression. And of course, that had just not been covered at all, because then that wouldn't discredit the book. I feel that the newspapers were actually wanted to discredit for no good reason other than they just feel they just needed some news or they needed some clickbait. This is where my cynicism comes in. Readership of newspapers is gradually decreasing because you've got online content, you've got YouTube, etc., etc. So there's many different ways in which you can access that content, and it's becoming less and less relevant to read a paper or to read an articles from these media. And to be honest, I think they're just trying to do it to increase their subscriptions because their income is going down. And where, for example, YouTube videos and video consumption content is increasing, it's going up. To be honest, I think they're just looking for some drama so they can get their subscriptions up and then increase their income again. And I think what they're failing to understand is people's tastes are changing. I think they're just scrabbling to get something. And I think they just don't care about what carnage they ensue along the way. So I think we need to hold this to account. It's not the first time it's happened. It seems every few months I'm covering these topics And it does concern me that time and time and time again, the media outlets that a number of years ago we would have potentially trusted, in inverted commas, are showing time and time again they do not deserve our trust. As many times as I maybe see a good documentary or a good article, I'm seeing a bad one. And that's, from the Times, Daily Mail, BBC, ITV, all these big organisations where, for example, now, if I want to look at a certain, let's say, LGBT event, like, for example, the awful shootings we had last year in America, I won't look at the traditional sources anymore. I'll go straight on to YouTube channels that I trust, or onto Pink News, or something like that. Those are the sources at the moment which I feel that are treating the LGBT community with most respect, and at least giving an even representation of those situations, because so many times now I see outlets trying to grasp on and to try to create some drama just so they can get a few more views, and I think it cheapens it, especially like some of the coverage last year for the Colorado shooting was really bad. And I think, to be honest, I think that the media can do better. And I think the Daily Mail should do better, and I think we do need to take them to task. But it's almost like trans is seen as just the new punching bag, and that's similar with ITV, similar with BBC. They're just showing it disrespect, and that's what I do not like and I do not appreciate. And I think now we need to hold these outlets to a higher standard, in my personal opinion, and they need to be held to a higher bar. And if they're finding they're reducing viewership, then they need to think of new ways in which they can deliver that's relevant rather than old-fashioned, rather than just using minority groups as punch bags just to get a few short-term subscriptions and cause more hate and just adding to that hate narrative. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Of course, you have the Twitter, the Instagram, and the email if you do have any comments or further topic suggestions or things you'll be interested in. And as always, thank you very much for watching, very much appreciated, and please subscribe.